I wanted to have a big clock that is there. Where's that? There it is. There it is.
Are any of you guys planning on speaking and using the microphone?
Otherwise,
Okay. Do you feel like you need the microphone?
I probably can project.
La la la.
La la la.
You don't need it.
Okay.
Well, I shouldn't say, can you guys hear him all right from where you're at? All right, then we'll turn it off. If you guys are okay with that?
that's fine.
The distance is sometimes a problem. They all interfere with each other if they get too close.
Okay. I think we'll get started. It's just about 6:30 now, so I'll call the meeting to order. The verification of notice, the meeting. The meeting was properly noticed. Okay, we'll move on to, public comment. I know that we have Judge Gruber
Oh.
here.
First on the agenda? Okay, I'll be sure to speak up.
Might as well be the first. You know
Sure.
we're here.
Hi.
Oh, it's not in here. We're gonna do the pledge of allegiance first.
Absolutely, sorry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, can I address the group from over here, or would that be bad form? Am I supposed to stand here, or?
You can stand.
Okay, all right. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Will Gruber. I'm one of the 4 circuit court judges in Jefferson County, and I'm here to announce my candidacy for re-election to that branch. And I appreciate the opportunity to go around the county and tell folks about that. A lot of judges, some judges, not a lot of judges, some judges tend to get reclusive in their 6-year term and don't appreciate, I think, the value of going out and reintroducing themselves to folks around the county who pay their salary and support the position in the court system. I was appointed to the court in 2018. I stood for election in 2019. I was re-elected, and now I'm coming upon my 2nd term here. So the election's on April 1st. I'm the judge in branch 1 of the circuit court. There's 4 branches in the circuit court, and there's 2 branches that are contested this year, which is unprecedented and unusual. But I'm in branch 1, and there's Judge Beck in branch 2, who's running for election as well. Since being appointed and first elected, I've presided over 35 jury trials. I've touched every type of subject matter that comes before the courts. I'm pleased to have a broad and varied list of supporters across criminal justice sectors, across government sectors, across business sectors. I'm proud of my 89% affirmation rate with the Court of Appeals. In addition to my experience, I've prided myself on procedural fairness, enforcing decorum in the courtroom, even amongst lawyers when that's necessary, and I pride myself on active listening. I'm currently the chair of the Community Justice Collaborating Council. I was the previous chair of the Security and Facilities Committee, and the presiding judge of the Treatment Court in 2023. I live in the town of Lake Mills, just adjacent to this fine town. I think I can see the town of Oakland from my window. I volunteer at the Humane Society. I volunteer with Friends of Corth Park, one of the county parks in the town of Lake Mills. I truly am. I'm grateful for having earned the trust of the county and the residents over the course of the last 6 years to serve in this position. and I'm eager to serve another 6 years. And I don't want to consume too much time. Some towns are reluctant to allowing this, and I appreciate the opportunity by the town of Oakland to be able to just take a minute or 2 or 3 minutes perhaps to tell everyone about myself. So,
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Really
Good luck.
appreciate you being
Good luck.
here.
Thank you.
Would anyone like to make public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. So first, approval of the minutes from our December 17th, 2024 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from December 17, 2024.
I'll second
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of approval of the December 17 minutes as presented, please say aye.
it.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. Now we'll go on to approval of the meeting minutes from January 6th, 2025. That was a closed session meeting.
Make a motion to approve the January 6th meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any comments? Okay, all in favor of approval of the January 6th meeting minutes as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. So we'll move on to, report from the fire chiefs. I know that, Chief Russ from Lake Mills could not be here, and there's, did you send that out?
There was an email.
Email that you can see, but we have Chief Peterson here, so please.
Better pass these out.
Oh, great, thank you.
I have printed 6, but if I could hang on to one, it comes from it. And I'll give you my copy.
Thank you.
I missed my table. This is two documents there. One is a report from our stats from 2024. You didn't get a December report from me. Later on this month, you'll get an annual report, which will contain all that. But I wanted you to see the stats, and especially your township's number of calls and some of our incident times. So I can answer any questions on that, but it's an overview of what we did in 24. On the second page, I took a snapshot of what we've done since we took over the new part of Oakland. And till today, we've had 5 calls in Oakland, with 3 of them being in the new area. And on that far right there, you'll see the response times, which we're pleased at. It's pretty much what we had thought. About just a skosh over 11 minutes from time of dispatch to getting to the scene there. And then we had one at 7 minutes. So that's coming pretty close to what we had thought. We're pleased about that. And I believe all of these, we've not only sent our engine or our ambulance with a medic and an EMT advance, but we've also sent our engine with it, with 2 more EMTs and another paramedic to those calls, just due to the travel distance and making sure there's plenty of help out there. So, dispatch is going well. We haven't seen any issues with the 911 calls or being dispatched in error to anywhere in the new part. So all the mapping is up, so things are going as we thought. We're pleased about that, so.
Great,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Okay.
the report quality. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Oh, okay. Thank you, thank you.
And then for the Jefferson Fire Department, that last page in your packet, it didn't have, it was sent to me. I should have had Susan copy the letter too, because the page itself doesn't show that it's from Jefferson Fire and EMS.
I wonder what that was.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, it's the, responses by Jefferson Fire Department to our township during 2024. Town of Oakland recorded 1 call for 2024.
to discussion and possible action on revisions to ordinance 60 driveway and highway access permits. So you have that in your packet. So there were a few, did you send out the original as well? There were a few changes to the ordinance that I had discussed with Jeff that he thought would be a good idea, so we discussed that and, went through, our attorney, Michael Van Clunen, to, finalize that. There were just a few changes that were being made, including putting in this, diagram, as well as, stating that, that it would be approved by the town road supervisor. That was not there in the past.
The only thing that changed was that paragraph above section 2, where it says a permit is required if sewer hookup extends into the road surface, etc. And then the other addition is that privately owned bridges must have the approval of the town of Oakland engineer. Those were the only changes. The picture, that one paragraph, and then the section on private bridges.
Right, and also, the material, where was that? Jeff help me out here,
It's in that paragraph.
it's in that
All
here.
black,
8
all,
inches.
all black backfill to be compacted, minimum of 8 inches of crushed lime rock, with a minimum of 3 inches of hot mix asphalt, but then it also says that, an other acceptable material can be used.
Consistent of new steel or other materials. So now there are some additional materials that you could use in addition to steel that would be, acceptable. So we want to make sure that we're not limiting what that could be made out of.
I'm wondering why we didn't just repeal the entire ordinance and do it, I mean, that's what we were trying to do with the ordinances, is combine them, because now you have 2 number 60 ordinances. To look at, sections to look at. When I worked with Ted, we were trying to combine them into, anything new, instead of having like this, you know what I mean?
It isn't a new ordinance as such, the format is different.
Well, this doesn't include everything for ordinance 60.
Yeah, it does.
No, because you've got section 4, and then you've got, these are 2 sections of ordinance 60.
I believe this is all of section 60.
I looked at the ordinance. Why is it section 4 and section?
Well, I think your question is that it's not showing a section 1 through 3, it just starts at section 4. So we'll see.
Michael formatted that.
Okay, there are other parts of that ordinance.
They're just not printed out.
I'm just wondering why we don't, I don't have any objection to the changes you've made,
Okay.
but I'm wondering why we can't make just one ordinance.
In section 1, it says section 4 of ordinance is hereby repealed and recreated to
It is
read
as
as
follows.
follows.
Right. Why don't we repeal ordinance 60
She's asking to repeal the whole ordinance instead of
And-
just the one section.
and, right,
And then recreate it with the changes in totality.
because now, there are more sections to this ordinance than these 2. If you look at the original ordinance 60.
Yeah, so there's,
Then I guess I don't know. I sent the original ordinance 60 to Michael and asked him to look it over and format it, and this is what he sent me.
Well, unless I was looking, no, my computer skills, as you know.
Oh, we've got a copy of the ordinance book in the other room, I
We
mean, you
do.
just go grab it and look at it quick, right here.
The question is this just gonna combine these changes into one ordinance, right?
Right,
Yes,
instead
that's
of
all.
If
having
that's,
to look at.
if that's what's
that's it, we
happening,
can
then
do that.
we're wasting our time.
Yes, we can just, the section one title and purpose, yeah, we can just do that.
I wouldn't mind combining them, and so we can approve them at the next meeting, but,
No, we need to approve it today, because there are new,
okay.
Well, can we approve it and just say this will be combined with the old ordinance?
Yeah.
I mean,
there's
it
no
shouldn't be
reason
that
why
difficult.
we can't do that.
Because all of our ordinances need to be looked at and to,
We've been talking about that for
Right.
as long as I've been here, I know. so.
right.
Yeah, and so this is our first step, that,
Well, and we did some already.
Well, we could, like I think Tom said, we could
yeah,
approve it,
Section 1, 2, and 3
and then,
are those, but it was 4 that was changed.
right, so,
Right, but I'm wondering why we don't repeal the entire ordinance 60 and recreate it. How do you
It's
remember
what,
what we
68?
did with him?
I guess he didn't see the need to recreate it because we were just amending some portions of it.
well, and he may not have been asked to look at it from that perspective, maybe purely from a legal perspective.
Okay, so
that's
we're
not-
missing, if someone looks at this, they won't see,
I would just make a motion that we approve the revisions to the ordinance and require that they be combined into one ordinance with the other three articles.
I'll second.
Big
okay,
deal.
yep, we can do that, we'll take a look at that and we'll do that too. So does anyone have, so we're just talking here about, you know, just administrative, does anybody have any concerns about what the changes say and the need for them?
okay, the only thing I have is on the first page, the bottom, it reads, like the fourth line, both directions, 3 space 14 feet, what is that supposed to be? Is that supposed to be 3 1/4? Or 3,
Oh, I see what you mean,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Jeff, what is that supposed to be?
is it like 3-14 feet, 3 to 14 feet of the driveway surface? Or,
That's supposed to be 3.5 feet.
Okay, that's what I thought, that's what the original one, and so those two numbers where it says 3 space 14 feet should be 3 1/2
Yeah, I
feet.
think it just, when Michael took it over, it just kind of somehow.
And then so, not that Jeff is ever gonna retire in the future. Do we want to leave this solely to be determined by town road supervisor, or do we want to say town roads supervisor or town chairperson?
It did have the town chair, and we had talked about it and thought that was not appropriate, because the town road supervisors would be able to determine what was best compared to the town chair that may not have any knowledge of the roads, and since he's working with the roads,
Right,
they
I
would be the
know.
right person for it.
Right, so anyone that
Anyone who,
follows Jeff, we can be, so we don't have to redo this again.
right, no, it'll be the town road supervisor, whoever succeeds Jeff will be just as capable to do that.
and will we be paying him the stipend that would normally have been paid to the town chair for each time he does that?
No, that'd be just part of the job,
It's just part of the job.
just part of the job.
Okay, all right, I just wanted to make sure that in the future, when we don't have the expertise that we have now, that we don't want to put it on.
No, but the town chair won't have that expertise. Whoever becomes the town road supervisor will need to have this expertise.
Okay.
Yeah, it's better placed there, because we don't know what qualifications the chair will have.
Right, exactly.
And we don't have to pay the stipend that we were paying the town chair to do that.
Okay. Those were the only things that I had.
Okay, so we're just going to, I'll make a motion.
Motion's been made and seconded.
Second, including the amendment, okay. So any other comments?
I think I need to amend the motion to change, to make an additional change to 3 and 14 to 3.5.
Yes.
And that will be complete.
That's just a typo, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
typo.
Yep.
Okay. So we have a motion with, we should, with the, we should actually, by Robert's rules, we should first approve. We have a motion and a second for the amendment, we should approve the amendment first. So all in favor of the amendment, say aye. Okay, so now we will make a motion, to approve ordinance number 60 to include the amendment. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. So then we are going to move on to, the open road permit. So originally, these two permits, the road opening and the driveway, were one permit, but it was confusing to people, because they didn't always have to fill everything out. So it's just been simplified and divided up into two. And then, for the road open permit, we have added that, if not repaired within 45 days, the town, will do the repair and the cost will be passed on to the owner. We added this because we did have, a situation this summer where the road, was open for the utilities and it was not being repaired. And so we had to, kind of go back to the owner a few times to, discuss that with them. So at least now, and because there wasn't a time limit on it, so now that they know there's a time limit and they'll need to repair the road in a timely manner.
Yeah, I fully agree with the time limit. I personally like to see that time limit a little bit shorter, maybe 30 days. I mean, that was a mess last time.
Yeah, that was,
That's a month and a half.
that was long, more than a month and a half, but I think, Jeff was thinking that sometimes it can be difficult to get contractors in there in a timely manner.
I don't know, leaving our road stored up for 30 days, I
What do you
think that's
think,
plenty of
Jeff?
time.
What do you think about the logistics of it? I don't want,
Well, generally, the person that does the excavating is not the same one that does the paving.
right,
And 45 days, I felt gave them enough time to get it done, weather pending, timing of everything.
Everything completed within 45
Yep,
days.
if it ain't done in 45 days, we're there on day 46, we're doing the job, so it's done.
Okay.
Seems reasonable, especially when you say about the weather and weather.
Well, I thought 30 days would be adequate. That might be pushing it, I don't wanna cause any hardship on the residents that,
If they're trying.
Right, and if it's a high traveled road is one thing, if it's not high traveled road, I see both sides again, but.
I mean, it was out of control last time.
yeah, that was,
Well, it
well,
was a busy road, and
that
part of
was
the road
more
was
than
shut down,
45 days.
and I get all that, but man, if they're gonna tear up the road,
Yeah, how
We gotta
long was
fix it.
that? That was like 6 months.
it was crazy.
So that really instigated this to have a time limit on it.
And plus it gives it a little time for compaction. So, because we do hold them liable for any settling after, within a year's time. And if we don't give compaction of time, that settles. You have that factor too.
That makes sense.
Does stipulate in instructions that they have to compact as they go, so it shouldn't be a settling problem.
Thank you. So are we making a motion then?
Yeah, someone would like to make a motion or
I
amendment to
would
that?
like to make a motion that we approve the road opening permit to, as presented.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other further discussions? Okay, all in favor of the road opening permit, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so motion carries. So let's move on to the driveway permit. So again, this is just, separating out the road opening and the driveway permit into two, just for, clarification and not, causing confusion with anyone taking out a driveway permit but no need for a road opening permit. We will, just like, the road opening, they'll have a copy of ordinance 60, so they'll have all the regulations with them, so they will have, no excuse not to understand the requirements. So it's pretty straightforward with that. Does anybody have any?
I'll make a
Question?
motion to approve the driveway permit.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion by Judy and Sheila for a second. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor of the driveway permit, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to agenda number 9, discussion of possible action regarding the ordinance for reimbursement of professional services. So that is a new ordinance. I'm trying to there. 71, yes. Right here, sorry. I was just trying to find it. So this would be a new ordinance that we have. So at the time that somebody takes a permit out that may need professional services, such as the engineering, they would know in advance that they would be responsible for that cost. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
So, do we get billed and then we build them?
Yes,
So we're pay as you go.
yes.
We're not gonna accumulate fees and,
No,
okay,
no,
is that, yeah, that would
no,
be-
we wouldn't do that. If they got an invoice, they would, some of these things would be handled within a month that you would typically see.
But on a bigger project, like a big
Right.
or something, we may have multiple engineering services needed, and we would wanna have them pay as they go rather than,
Right, we would send them those invoices. Yeah, definitely. But this way, it's clear here that
do
this
we
is-
have a list of services or that we're,
So engineering, legal, and other fees to property owners. So it would be, predominantly engineering and legal fees, but anything else that would be,
there could be, any number of fees, that come up that people may not even assume that there's
Exactly.
something they have to reimburse for,
Right.
so.
Right, so, in advance, we would, so we have attorney, engineer, and other professional staff contracted and employed by the town. So then, yes, they would have to,
We've been collecting this in the past, we just don't have an ordinance, is that correct?
and I don't think we had anything up front either. We'll get to, in the next
It's been a while since we've had a subdivision, so this is gonna relate to, the developers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And there could be any
Should
number.
be-
Even the
Should be part of the
driveway.
development agreement anyhow.
Right,
Right.
yes, it will be.
It is, and I think Michael put in the proposed developers agreement that there is, a specification for fee reimbursement, but there could be any number of things that we come across over, you know, through planning, et cetera, that may require, you know, and different types of fees. And those should be something that we can bill and reimburse for, so this would be a broad,
Right, it
a
would be
broad
broad,
scope, you
yes,
know?
yes, and even ordinance 60, when we're having the town
Mhm.
roads manager look at things, you know, some of that might require engineering if it's kind of complicated driveway, you feel like it's not.
Yep.
Simple, we could always have the
Yeah, if they
engineer
don't,
look at it.
I like that number 5, you know, if they don't pay, it goes on their tax roll, so.
Exactly.
Right,
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 71 as well.
Second.
okay.
Can I just,
Yes, of course.
in order to keep the ordinance, how we, can we label it ordinance number 2025-71?
Oh, that's right,
Okay.
so you know the year.
Okay, 2025-71. Okay, so,
That way, when people look at it, they know when it was created too.
okay, let's do that. All right. Okay, so I'll make a motion to amend to include 2025-71 from just 71.
Just a quick comment, it does say that at the end of the ordinance, when you sign it, it has the date of the ordinance on the bottom of it. But if you wanted the title, I don't.
Is that
Well,
what
I'm
we-
just looking so we can get all of our ordinances.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
It
ordinance
does say at the
number-
back of every ordinance when it's signed.
Yeah, ordinance
If
number,
if you don't wanna do it, that's fine.
the ordinance 60 does not have that. Let me see.
Right, and I would volunteer
Because it's
to
existing.
combine
Yeah,
all and label it as we labeled the new ordinances that we worked on in the last couple of years.
yeah, none of the other ones have, they just have ordinance number 70. That's the latest one, and that does not.
Well, 2023-30, open burning and fireworks regulations. That was labeled,
Okay,
I mean, it's up to you. You don't wanna,
There has been some inconsistencies.
yeah, there are
Right.
inconsistencies
And that
in
is one
here.
of the things that we hope to work on, is get everything codified. But
it's a job.
it goes down, it is, and it's low on the priority list.
Okay, well, let's just moving forward, any new ordinances, we will add the date to there, but, you know, this will be changing, all of it may be low on the list of things to do, because they do have the date when it was written. Even on the website, it does have the date. If you click on the link, it does have the date right on there, so I think we're good for that.
Alright, so Laura, you made an amendment to add the date,
Yeah, right.
and then, so then we would need a second to the amendment?
I'll second it.
Okay, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
And
so
then the
we need a
original,
motion to approve with amendment.
we've got a motion, Jimmy and Tom made a motion
Okay.
to approve numbers 71, so now
Okay,
it's
just
an amendment
amendment.
motion.
Yeah, so, it's, we need a motion with
We
that.
need a vote
On the original.
on the original.
Never voted on it.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Moving on to number 10, discussion of possible action regarding town standard form contract for reimbursement of professional services. So we have that. In our packet as well.
So this is what they would get, and they wouldn't have any idea of what the engineering rate would be?
No, they would not know, we would not know when they filled out, let's say they were going for a subdivision, we don't have a way of knowing how much it's going to cost.
Right, I mean, okay.
But it's just saying that, you know, as part of putting in a subdivision or anything else, there will be fees attached to it that you will have to be responsible for. And then, you know, as we go further into approval of any kind of subdivision, they would, you know, we would have a better idea of how much it would cost, and we can get a proposal at that time.
And then at that time, they have a question or problem with that, they would still have to pay what they're being charged, and then they can appeal it?
Yes,
Yeah.
according to the ordinance, yes.
Yeah, just one.
Yeah.
You should.
But when they come in and fill this out, you can't give them you can't be like, oh, this is gonna be X amount of money, because we won't know at that time,
I know, but
you know.
you would have to have this kind of engineering done, and their hourly rate is
Yes, they
approximately
will have
this
to have
much.
will have all of that, so they could get that information if they needed to.
And they may have to revisit it anytime there's changes made, you know, to the project, and they have to go back and review, they'll need to charge for it and we need to be reimbursed for that.
Right, so if, for instance, if the engineers had comments that they needed to go back and redesign, then they would have to, you know, review that final plan. So this is just part of doing business, and so then it was just upfront that they're aware of it.
Is this a standard AIA type
Yeah.
form here?
Yes.
Is that where we took it from AIA? Or where do we take this?
Michael.
Oh, okay.
So it's just standard form.
Well, I'm saying, the Towns Association, for
Yeah.
instance, has a library of documents, you know,
It
it's,
didn't come from that, or what Michael did.
okay, thank you. So it's a step in the right direction, so, get us started.
So it has up here to town attorney, engineer, planner, economic development consultant, other professional consultant, so it covers any possible consulting that we may need for a different project.
You need a motion?
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the professional service reimbursement.
Second. Steele, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the professional service reimbursement agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Moving on to number 11, discussion and possible action on town engineering services. Do we have any of the engineer service? No, okay. They had indicated that they were going to,
Who did?
the engineers, but.
Which engineer?
Both engineers.
The ones from, that we talked, from
Yes, so
the last
Strand.
meeting,
Mhm.
Strand and this Mr.
Yes. Okay. So last month we tabled this.
Yeah.
Is everybody, ready to have any questions or comments about it? So again, Michael, had recommended, 2 engineering firms, and sent out an email to both of them, with the same email. And then we got, I'm looking for that, I received something in the mail from one of them, Short, Elliott and Hendrickson. It was just this, you have on your desk, you received it last month as well. And
So,
then,
okay. I'm sorry, go ahead.
and then Strand Engineers, reached out to me and asked to meet, so I said yes, the other ones did not reach out. at that time. And then we talked, and then this is, the proposal that we received from them. So they have quite a bit of information in here. You know, they have a lot of information about, the projects they've worked on. They have done some research on, the town, what our needs were. They had asked what our, needs may be in the future, and I said we were looking at, the boat launch needed some repairs and potential roads down the line. So gave us a whole list of items that we could potentially do, just as out of the box thinking. This is something just as, here's how we plan things out. Doesn't mean we have to do it exactly like that. But then the teams, the rate, the experiences, they are the city engineer for, the city of Lake Mills. I did call them, and, they recently, gave them, that they had proposals, and they rewarded the city engineer again, and they thought they had done a very good job for many years. I think that the two rates are pretty similar. They give you, you don't necessarily know who's gonna work on a project, but before we had any project done, they would provide us with, a proposal on how much money it was gonna cost, who would be working on it, and so forth. So just based on the information that we received with the proposal, this is a lot of work that was done, so based on my professional experience, I think that, that Strand really wants this project, you know, the job as our, the town engineer, and so that would be my recommendation.
I wasn't real excited about this one, and it's not even clear to me if the proposal, well, I guess since it's on this, on the paper that says at the bottom, the footer says Short Elliott, but.
Yeah, that's right, I can't remember the name again, I know
It's like,
Short.
I'm not sure if this is, I know.
They are a very good firm. I have known, I do know that, and they're both very good firms, but just based on the proposal, I just feel that this would.
And he did not indicate, Mr. Hale, he did not indicate which, billing rates would be primarily used.
No, that's pretty standard, that you would give here's the classification, office, staff, so, depending on who would be working on this project, maybe availability, or just, their area of expertise, this is the typical range for each classification. That's pretty standard, quite honestly.
It is.
But I think just because they don't know who would work on the project, but the other people did, put together a team. It may change depending on the project, but if you go to that section, project team and rates, they did, state that, Justin, who I met with, he would be the project manager, and he listed a few people that most likely would be.
Well, I like that he did someone from each of the different discipline areas, because with this particular one, they've got, if they have to go outside this guy's expertise, because he's the primary person, they're gonna add 10% to whatever the fee is for the next person, and charge us for that, so we're automatically gonna end up paying more. Whereas Strand has a broader scope of services in-house that, they.
What are we deciding on right now?
So we're
I
just
don't
deciding,
understand.
so what we're gonna do is.
Because we've never had a town engineer, correct?
Right, so
And we don't
this
have an
is,
engineer very often, I'm just gonna
Right.
say, quick comment here, because that's what I want to do.
Okay.
Why don't we just get an RFP from both of them when we're actually at an actual RFP? Just question.
Well, that's not a bad idea.
Because we don't really have a town engineer that we've used in over a long period of time. Just asking.
Yeah, because things like insurance, the liability insurance is very important. The liability insurance, addressed in this is quite different from, you know, where Strand puts, this is in their proposal, it's much more common, is how I would see it, so.
And I don't disagree with what you're saying. All I'm saying is if you have an RFP, you're gonna get a hell of a lot more than this.
No, it's not a bad idea, if we're not in a rush, there's a lot to be said for going through a process and doing it each and every time, and then when people question us about it, we can pull it out and we can say, we did our due diligence.
I know when I bid engineering services, environmental services, in my job, we get 2 or 3 bids every single time.
Oh, for sure, I mean, there's no harm in it, it makes sense, you know, to do that, and if we're consistent, then,
And I'm not saying Strand's wrong, I'm just saying.
No, I agree.
What does it hurt to,
yeah,
it's really actually a better thing to do for the constituents.
exactly. We show we're doing our due diligence.
Well, mostly it'll be to, you know, we may have quite a few subdivisions coming up in the future, so it would be something that it would take less of our time. We would still ask them for proposals if we felt that it was, too high or something, we most certainly would not need to use it, but, it's pretty standard, especially when you do start to have, more.
I hope that is the case, but
Yeah,
I'm not sure, given that I've been on this board for almost 18 years and we've never had one subdivision.
Well, right now, we have proposals for 3.
yeah.
And
What is the Didion and the one on 18 and what is
there's
the other
another one that will probably come up next month.
Is that the church
The
property?
church property.
Oh, okay.
So, and there may be others, there's talk about others.
When these things come up, can we be made aware of them?
Well, let's stick to the topic
was on the
here.
back.
Can we,
All right,
can we utilize, either one of these in the meantime if we decided to go out to an RFP? Cause that's gonna take some time. And we may need these services soon.
Well, that's why we're doing this now. So that we can have an engineer on staff that would be the go-to person. So that's why we're looking at the rates that they have. We would go to them, let's say for the Didion project, and we would say, here's what we need from you. They would come up with a proposal, they would have the amounts, that they would still give us the cost. But then we could just go to them, get them, and so we wouldn't be sending out an RFP all the time and delaying.
Right.
It could be months.
Right.
So this way,
Well,
we have
it
them.
wouldn't be months if they were interested in our business, let me tell you that.
yeah,
It would be a matter of.
it's
Week.
usually, yeah,
It's-
they're
These are-
responsible.
Oh, we still have to,
Why don't we just do an RFP for this project then and get both of them to actually give us an RFP?
For individual projects or
No,
for
for
the?
this, for the Didion project, isn't that what we're talking about here?
Well,
Well, it
this
could be-
one clearly was written specifically for Gideon. This was not intended to be a proposal for our blanket, to be our go-to people.
Right, right.
Whereas this one appears to
Right.
be done, they're totally different.
but they gave us, they were given the same information, and it was the same
Well,
information.
It's, well, Strand is a lot more, I mean, Strand is a name that's known everywhere.
Right.
You know, I've worked with Strand a lot over the course of the years in my work, and they're always gonna do it right.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
I got to,
But this
I'm
is-
fine with that, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I think
What
you're
are we
right.
doing here?
With
For the
someone that
constituents,
Tom's got the experience through his.
yeah, right now, RFP.
I don't know, I'm an engineering consultant, I have a lot of experience.
Well, so do I, but I'm not gonna,
Yeah, but she's saying that Tom does, I'm saying that this is common. This is really what our,
Does it cost us any money to bring an engineer on board as a town of Oakland engineer?
no,
and we don't have to pay a retainer, we should not pay a retainer, I
No,
should say.
right.
But I think you're right, we should have, because then we've got a base camp to start with, we show our constituents, we're doing our due diligence, they all present the same type of information because of how the RFP is written. These are completely different
yeah,
animals.
but they were written the same way, but
They-
it was given the information. It was not,
It had,
I understand, but
Okay.
they were given the same information, it's just the way they chose to present the data.
when I tossed one, for sure.
Well, that's why I'm saying we should
So-
approve this.
But we didn't know we were gonna be doing that.
I don't know why.
Well, did you tell us?
I mean,
that
we
were-
talked about
We
last,
talked about it last month and it's on our agenda.
Right, but we
For
already
choosing
had,
a town engineer,
I
so-
know, but we already had these last month.
I know, but
Because
you,
I took that book home with me.
I know,
last
I know you had it last month.
So when did you decide that this needs to be done? I mean,
Last month. Last month I decided it needed to
but
be
we already
done.
had this book last year.
I know, but we tabled it because you weren't
I
prepared.
don't know.
So then I
Because
don't
when
understand.
did you decide we needed a town engineer is what I'm asking you.
Once we started having with Didion and some other subdivision proposals,
Okay.
And even
Why didn't-
our-
At that time, why didn't we do the RFP?
Michael did it for us, I'm saying to you.
well, do we have a copy of the RFP that he sent out? That should address it.
But it was just a request for services.
So it wasn't an RFP, or whatever you call it.
A
This
request
is
for
not,
proposal.
I mean, I'm in the legal field. I'm not in this
I know, I
engineering
understand
stuff.
that.
But I'm hearing two people that have experience here, and one's saying that we
All
should
three
do.
of them.
We have
Three of us have
Three
this.
of them. Yeah, and.
This is just what they chose to do. To
Who
me,
chose-
the engineers, they chose to present the information differently.
Okay, but you asked them.
The same questions. They
Right,
were asked,
but
Michael
not
sent.
not as an RFP.
We're not really entering into any kind of contractual agreement.
No, we're not.
So we can probably get an RFP from more than one person anyhow. Most of this is gonna be a pass-through anyhow, on the subdivisions, right? It's just if we wanted to do something on the town's bill for the town exclusively, which we haven't, then we can pay for that.
So they could, you could use them for any kind of subdivision we have or anything else, we would
Or
just have a.
something that came up with Enbridge and we
Yeah.
wanted to have.
Right.
We're really not approving much of anything.
No, we're not approving anything, we would say they would be the go-to person, we can get a proposal from them, we're not just giving them a blank check. They would just, this is pretty standard that you have somebody, especially in a time like this, when you're starting to see more and more development, to have somebody on hand, it's just easier
Well,
for us.
I think some of the prickly stuff that we feel is probably that, in years past, these types of things, don't get discussed when they are, starting to surface rather than,
And if we just wanna approve them as a vendor, that's fine, we could actually have two approved vendors, have many approved vendors, it doesn't really matter. Cause we're not saying that they're going to get the engineering services, we're not in contract with them, right?
right, we can't contract.
We would just, we would go to, let's say we have the Didion, we could, if we approve, let's say Strand, we would just go to Strand to get a proposal, and then we could just use that, we wouldn't have to go out and get multiple bids, it would take a while to come back, we'd have to approve it this way, we would just be able to.
So
But
maybe,
we could, we're not in any contract or
yeah,
anything.
we
So
could make.
What exactly is a RFP?
Request for proposal for specific work items, whether it's environmental engineering, appraisal, whatever.
Okay,
Right. And so this is just for,
so we would need that anyway for Didion, even if we say that these are our go-to people. They would still have to send us a proposal.
yes, but we wouldn't have to get 6 of them, we wouldn't have to worry about, we would say, we vetted these people, we could just use them, we wouldn't have to be sending it out to a number of different places, we could just use them.
So for instance, tonight, we could say, we would make a motion to approve Strand as a vendor for engineering services. Anytime we need them, or whatever, we would go to them, first and request, an estimate for the work to be done based on the scope of work that was needed. I mean, that would be, you know, Strand is reliable, they're respectable, but they clearly, you know, I mean, this response is what I would expect to get in an RFP. This looks more like somebody knew somebody and was focused more, so,
Right.
you know, approved vendor, I think would be appropriate where we're at right now. Does that sound good? But I think going forward, we should probably, when these things start to come up as potential needs, having these types of discussions early on so that we all might be able to provide input and ask questions might expedite this process.
So this
a little
is
better.
this is the process we're going, it's no different than we've been talking about this.
Yes, it is.
So
I
we-
apologize, but.
We have this in front of us, we have a number of potential subdivisions. They would be approved for that, we would just get we would say, here's what we have on hand, this is what we need to have reviewed, they would give us the proposal, this is how much it is, we're not, you know, just having a blank check and don't know. We would get it, we could just use it then, as long as if there was a problem with it, we could address it, but we would just go to them and say, this is what we're doing.
So if we approve Strand as our town engineering services, and we do get a quote that we just don't think is correct, we still have the ability to go outside and
Yes.
get a different quote?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve town engineer of Strand
As our vendor?
as
As an approved vendor,
as our approved vendor.
and approved vendor.
Okay. All right,
I'll just make a comment, I don't even think it's necessary, but I'm fine with it, because we can go to them.
At any time.
At any time,
Right.
without even
Right.
making some type of board movement on it myself. I don't see the necessity, but I'm fine with it.
The only comment though that I'd like to make on it is that when these types of things are needed, we should be, you know, included in the discussions. There may be people and talents and knowledge in this room that would be helpful in contributing to the situation. And when we're made aware of things like pending developments, you know, we should all be made aware of those when they happen and not later.
okay, well,
So-
there's one very clear way to do that. Every month there's a planning committee meeting, you can look at the planning committee agenda and you will
Quarterly
find
meetings.
it.
It should be in our notes, that we got on the board,
The planning committee meeting should be in the minutes.
typically included in the agendas.
The minutes are normally included in our packet, and there weren't no minutes.
Because there were no minutes, this isn't here yet for us to discuss.
So you discussed the engineer at the planning committee?
No, we did not discuss that.
We're getting off topic, I'll call a motion.
I need a second.
I second. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Okay, so discussion and possible action on town of Oakland fee schedules.
This is what we have for fee schedules as of this time. Most of the fees that we have are, in Wisconsin statutes, which means we, cannot charge more than what is listed. The only place where we have some ability to change, fees is for, the boat launch. We can change those fees, and then, we've added something down on the bottom here, it would be page number 4. We thought that one way of increasing revenue would be to, sell compost and wood chips instead of having them available for free. That is just a proposal, it is not, something that is currently, in place. We would like to add, prorate of garbage and recycling. Sometimes in the middle of the year, someone will add a extra set of garbage and recycling containers, and as soon as they go on the list, LRS charges us, and we only charge once a year on property taxes. So we would like the ability to invoice for partial years for garbage and recycling. And then we also put down an Airbnb permit. We do not have that ordinance yet.
We will have that next month.
We're working on that.
We will have that next month.
I've
like-
already researched some on that when we talked about this, when Ted was still here.
Yeah.
And so now you're working on that, Laura?
Well, all we're doing is getting some examples. We don't have anything written. So if you have something written, that would be wonderful.
I don't have it written, but I had talked to the Towns Association and that's another thing where it would be nice to know.
Well, we're gonna be working on that. If you had some comments, then
Right,
please
we,
provide them.
yeah, we don't have an ordinance, but we're something
I
that
know
we're
we
working
don't,
on.
because I was researching.
It might not be a bad idea to have a committee of people to work on that together. And that may, what town or village of Cambridge is doing with hotel tax right now, this might be an opportunity, for us in some way, shape, or form. I've just been waiting for the opportunity to talk about it, the Airbnb thing, okay? I was hoping it was gonna come up so we could have an appropriate discussion. There may be an opportunity to collect a tax on, a room night tax on Airbnbs like other towns, villages, cities do, and use that money. There are certain limitations in how it can be used. However, we should review those, conditions to see whether or not it would make sense. Apparently, there's a lot of revenue going through here, for the Airbnb purpose, and we haven't even really
And
put
there's a lot
together.
of limitations too, on
Right,
how many
that alone, this whole thing of
weeks
Airbnb.
can be rented out. I mean,
Yeah, so those are called short-term rentals.
I mean, we
And
could
there
have,
are a number of them who have that.
and the taxes, whether an Airbnb is considered a commercial business versus, there's a lot of ways these affect us, and we need to have an actual working group, I think, to talk about
Eric,
this.
so are we talking about,
We're
what
not
are we
talking-
talking about?
We're not, we're just talking
We're all over the
about,
place,
All right,
guys.
but we
Let's
got,
let's
stick to
but,
the subject, let's talk about the fees that are at
all right,
hand, and I'm sure next month we'll have something in a draft form to
Right.
possibly look at.
and then,
It would be nice to know that you're working on it.
Well,
Okay.
sure, we all work on stuff.
and then there's, building permit fees that we charge, and we would like to put some of those on the website. This is just a working document right now, so at the next meeting, we'll have a resolution that will incorporate these fees, but only the ones that we have approved. We put Airbnb on there, we're gonna take it off, for the time being because we don't have an ordinance.
So we're not looking for any type of,
No, we're,
'cause, we did just go through all this whole fee thing.
Well, we did, I thought the building permit, fees, we just did all that.
but we never made it into a resolution, so.
We're still operating under those fees.
Right, and it's just an awareness thing, 'cause- so that's all it is, we'll bring it back as a resolution.
Sounds good.
So Jeff, do you like the idea of charging for the wood chips?
It's a thought.
It's a thought,
What would be the reason to charge for the wood chips?
Yeah.
revenue,
Is that,
Don't we want to
That's it.
get rid of it though, or not?
Well, I know the compost costs us money, though, just screen it the way it is. So, wood chips, not so much. But compost, we got time and money invested in that when we screen it. Nobody wants it dirty. When it's screened, it goes.
Although we could take a hard look at that, it sounds like that, Jeff.
Yeah.
And not the riches.
How would
This one.
I don't
Wood
know
chips
wood
might be
chips.
kind of a big rub. Yeah, might wanna leave the wood chip one alone.
I think so too.
Does anybody out there have any thought on that topic? Wood chips, compost?
On the wood chips, if you, start selling them, you're gonna have people expecting some quality, and if there's an issue with them, you're chipping stuff from along your roadways and that, you don't know where.
All of a sudden
what
you
all-
could have
whether or not-
liability.
Whether all has come through there,
Yep, pests are in there. and-
that's why that's generally isn't a thing that's done.
Yeah, that could be a
Like Dane
liability.
Let's
County,
cross that one off.
Alright,
at Dane County,
It's
and
just a
it's just
suggestion,
us.
as I know.
The suggestion I had was for the boat launch permits, you can keep the residents, the 65 and older, and the daily fees the same. Lake Mills for Rock Lake charges, they just have two, costs in there, an annual permit and the daily permit. They have it much higher at $60 and $8 for the daily fee. We could think about potentially raising the non-resident to maybe $50 for, a permit. It's not that much money when you're talking about, for the whole season. Leaving the residents at 25 since, you know, they are paying taxes, and then, you know, leaving the 65 and older as is.
Yeah, and on the boat launches fees, we've looked around, we've done this before with that, we looked at the other area lakes and stuff. I think Lake Mills is an $8 a day, we're at
Yeah.
7, I think we're smaller, we're a third of the size. So I think 7's fine there, if we wanna look at the non-resident fee and raising that, I'm fine with that. But let's leave our residence fees in.
Yeah, we should leave that as
Yeah.
is. But, you know, we could think about potentially not raising it to 60 like, Rock Lake, but maybe 50.
$10 is fine, and then non-resident.
You know, just get some additional fees.
I
It
even
has to
consider
belt
a
boat launch.
potential, user fee for the people
Right.
that rent here and bring their boats. you
Right,
know, A
right.
specialty besides, but
It
It's
is-
I
a
think
fee for parking, it's not a launch fee, it's a parking fee.
But they're parking to, yeah. mostly
Yeah,
bring their
but
boat
they're,
in.
they're putting stress on our environment,
Right,
and, if they're from outside the town, I'm like,
yeah,
there should be some kind of a.
so think about
Yeah.
raising it to 50, so next month you can have time to think about that, for the non-residents. Right now, we make $12,000 to $13,000 a year
On fees,
on fees for the boat launch.
thank you. We'll definitely take a look at it and make a more informed comment.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so anything else on those?
Yeah.
Good, okay, we'll bring that back next month. So we can do the Enbridge updates.
So they, yeah, I'll wait till you give it then.
Okay, so
You
we
probably
did
have
it.
an answer.
Maybe an answer? So we, as most of you know, we had our, I just wanted to pull something up. We did have our, public forum. I thought that went really well. It seems like we had some very good questions. We had some answers. They'll be coming back, after their work plan has been submitted and reviewed by DNR. So they'll present that at that time, so I'll keep you posted on when that'll occur. We don't know that date yet, but
I think they had talked about the end of February possibly.
that's, February 17th is when the work plan is due by, but we will have, the DNR will have to review that first.
I thought they agreed to have the forum before the review, so that people could ask questions. That's what we kind of talked about
I
toward
think
the
that,
end.
yeah, but I did talk to Caroline, and they're gonna have to go back and forth with the consultants, just, so anything that they feel is inadequate, they should have that on there to present to us too, in case there is something that they feel needs to be changed, so then if residents take a look at it, at least it's more thorough plan. So, they'll do that. Last week, the GI consultants, the third-party consultant, did collect samples. They collected samples at one private well nearby. They also, they tested in the 4 existing monitoring wells that are on the 4 corners that were already there. They tested groundwater for those, and 12 of the on-site temporary monitoring wells, as well as the potable well at the Enbridge station. So those results should be back, maybe tomorrow. It looks like they should be back, so then we'll have more information on the impacts to groundwater. It did not appear when they sampled that those outer wells, that monitoring wells as well as the temporary wells, it did not appear that there was any smells or oil, so that's a good sign, but, the final test is the analytical results.
Alright, did we hear anything from them about, cause we discussed, having, well, test reimbursement for people. And we had talked about letting the DNR and the health department, either the state, ideally, I would think the state more than a local health department, but, the county is, not bad either.
The DNR and the county are working on that. They have not come up with the radius yet, but that is something that they will come up with. As far as reimbursement goes, that would be not something that the DNR is going to dictate.
No, but they agreed to provide reimbursement.
He said
For
that he would
tests.
let us know the radius, and
Yes, so
I would
that-
be interested in.
Well, they don't have that yet, but as soon as they do.
And I think we also need to consider having, a specification for the water test, particularly because of the potential for carcinogens, in this pipeline. So a test for VOCs, is one thing, but apparently, as I'm doing the research, I learned that there's potential, carcinogen issues with this. And some people who are more knowledgeable than I brought it up, and they were curious why Enbridge does not use, additives, to their lines for corrosive, to deal with corrosiveness. And, it's a valid question if there are other companies like Enbridge out there that, use these additives. So I think a water test that would include something that would detect the carcinogen.
Well, the carcinogens are like the BTEX, the benzene, toluene, ethylene, and the toluene, the xylene. Those are the carcinogens. Those are a part of the oil. So they'll be testing for all of the VOCs and the total petroleum hydrocarbons. Those are what is in the crude oil itself. So that encompasses everything. That is the carcinogens.
Well, apparently there are potential additives that are quite a lot worse, and they cannot be, over time are not degraded and don't just disappear. Once they're in the environment, they're here, and I'm sure, you know that.
Well,
But
the VOCs will encompass any of their additives that are in there. So that will be, if that is in the groundwater, that will be detected. So that is an all-encompassing. The VOCs are all-encompassing.
I think at some point we need though to make sure that to cover ourselves, we have something on record that states that whatever tests are done need to be inclusive of these things. Mostly before I just heard them talk about VOCs, and there wasn't a lot of talk about these types of chemicals as part of that. So I feel like we should be on record at least, talking about that, and I think we also should push harder, for not just time tests, meaning once a year or whatever, but also testing that after a major weather event, for instance, heavy rains, that might make a difference, and I feel like,
Well, that will be the DNR, we can talk, yes, Mr. Turner?
I apologize, just if it's helpful, they promised to give a fingerprint. Basically, diagram or list
that's right, I
of
forgot.
all the materials that were coming through that pipe that spilled.
Yes.
Now, that should include any anti-corrosives that they deny they're using. They haven't disclosed that they use dilutants, but that oil doesn't go through those pipes without dilutants. Dilutants is another mixture. In fact, the Fort Atkinson spill was entirely dilutants, and if you want to, you can look at the tests
Yeah,
that were
that was
done there.
dilutants in that.
So all I'm saying is, you already asked them to provide that material a long time ago now, and as far as I know, they haven't given it to you, and it might be time to follow up. And if you are following up, they also agreed to provide the records of any spill they had in the early 70s, including the date on it, where did it go, you know, what kind of testing did they have. I don't think the board has received anything in response to the company's promises on both of those things. So if you follow up, you'll get what you need, all I'm saying.
Good point, thank you. Thank you. I did, in my research, I did hear from someone that, there is such a thing as heating the lines, to avoid additives, but that was just some research knowledge, so I'm working on it, and I really appreciate the help that you guys have provided.
Okay, well, I think a lot of questions can be answered. I'll just finish my update for this, so that might be helpful to you. It is under pressure, so it does heat up, it is hot. They invited myself and the Lake District, the chairs of both, so Jimmy went as the chair of the Lake District, I went as the town chair. We did go to the facility today, we met with the engineer, two people from the DNR, as well as Enbridge. We did a tour, we saw where the monitoring wells are, the permanent ones as well as the temporary ones. We saw the facility as a whole, how the pipes are welded together at some points, where some are bolted. So we did a whole tour, we asked a lot of questions, we were there for a couple of hours, going over everything that they've done. We asked about the wells, testing and the radius, they are working on that, the DNR is working on that with the county. So it was a very informative, a very transparent meeting. Do you want to add anything, Jimmy?
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time I've been at the site, I was, astonished about everything that goes on there, it was pretty crazy, but I learned a lot about these flanges,
Yeah.
cause I didn't understand, what the flange was and what it looked like. So they have above ground flanges, which is the same as the flange that's underground. So I asked a lot of questions about that, and my priority was earlier detection and what we can do to detect a problem much sooner in the process than waiting for who knows how long before something can be detected. Because currently they don't have a way to detect this type of leak, because there's not enough volume at one time leaving the system to detect it in their current emergency process. So I'll be putting together some ideas and some recommendations on how that can be done if there's another leak underground. But it was a really good tour.
Right. And then,
I wish you would have let us know about this, because at the meeting, when Enbridge was here, I asked the local guy for a tour, and he said he would let you know as soon as, and we could put together a group. Clearly, that didn't happen.
he invited me, and I asked Jimmy if, I asked them, and they had said, this is who they wanted, this is all that was invited. So, we.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Well, I don't think they get to dictate to us. If we want to see it, we should be able to see it, okay?
You will need to call them and ask them, but
I
it is their
obviously I'm
property,
gonna have to.
it is their property, they reached out, they
He said they were going to talk to you about setting it up and that I
I-
could attend that.
I asked them, and this is who they invited. We asked
Historically-
about others, and this is what they said. I do
Historically,
not control.
historically, they were open to anybody coming.
Yes, they were.
Well, this,
Even before this happened.
Ted, well, I talked to Ted
My
too,
sister's
because,
brother-in-law ran it for.
yeah, Ted, a
Sister-in-law.
large group went before I was on here, and
well,
Ted,
this is who they invited today with the DNR and the consultants. This is what they asked.
Well, when you get something like that again, could you include everybody on the board in that
I
information?
asked them, and this is who they
Well,
asked
could
to
you
go.
just say that your board is interested in attending these?
I
and-
did. This is who they invited at the time. So, I'm giving you an update. This is what they had asked. So this is what we did.
Okay. Well, if
So-
you give us a phone number, maybe,
I'll call him, I have his card, I'm gonna call him and talk to him about it. If he'll give us another tour, if anybody here wants to go, and
That's fine.
I'll let you
But
know.
this is what they asked. Leanna didn't go, just nobody from the Lake District Board went. That board is just as crucial
does
as ours.
anybody know that you were going? Did anybody on your board know that you were going to this?
I think I told Leanna.
But nobody on your board knew that you were going.
No,
I mentioned it Saturday.
we mentioned it on Saturday, cause a board meeting is where you update people. That's where you update people. So this is what I'm doing now, is updating. This is what the person that I talked to was reluctant to have a lot of people for safety, security, and so forth at that time. This is, I don't make the rules at somebody else's property,
Okay. Well,
but
ask for another tour.
yes, we can ask for another tour, but this can be one of many tours.
So did they give you a timeline on the radius at all?
No, they
No.
didn't.
They're working on it, they said they'd let us know as soon as they get it.
Right, so they're working on that right now. So they will get that for us. But they will be having the results back soon, so as soon as that is received, they'll put it up on their website. We will add it to we'll put an update on our website. Let you know when that happens, that this is what the results are. So then we'll be doing that. But they have not received that yet. We asked today and that hadn't been received yet, so they anticipate it to be received this week. So I'm sure it'll take a day or two for the engineers to look over that data, make sure it's correct, no issues with it, and send it to the DNR, and then at that time we will have an update on that. But it was very informative. We saw the extent of the removal of the soil is quite large. They did remove a lot of it. They backfilled it a little bit just for protection. But they do have everything still there, all of the temporary wells. Their work plan will include monitoring wells, both shallow and deep, so that you can see if there's any vertical migration. And then depending on the results of this round of sampling, they'll get an idea of where they need to put those final wells. And then that will be part of the work plan that goes to the DNR. And they did say today that they will, be coming out,
The work plan.
the work plan, they will be bringing that forward. But they will have to review it
And
first.
they have until the 17th of February? Is that
To
what you said?
submit it,
Pardon?
to submit it, yes. Enrich has to that time to submit it. And it sounds like, they probably submit it around that time, they probably won't, take, within the couple of days of that, they won't take that. So, but it was very good, I will ask again, but, that about having everybody else go out there. But that is what, when I reached out to them, they had said. They have a lot of controls there. We talked about that with them, about what they do when they can turn off very clean. What else would you say, Jimmy? about
I
that?
I didn't know what to expect, yeah, it was quite an operation.
Right.
I encourage anybody to go look at it.
Yeah, go look at it. I mean, you can ask them, but at the time, that's all they said. So, oh, there was a meeting with, the DNR, with, our assembly person, our representative, Joan Fitzgerald, and our state senator, Melissa Radcliffe. They went and talked to them from a legislative perspective. On Friday, I did talk to both of them, today, and, they thought that went very well. You know, they felt too that the DNR was doing all they could. At this time, they asked if there was something legislative they can do, so they will be monitoring this as well. They'll continue to reach out to the DNR as well as us to, you know, make sure that anything we need, that they could help us, they would be happy to do so. So that is a step in the right direction as well. And they, you know, so they set that up. Did you have a question about the senator visiting the DNR?
No, I just took note though, so it's nice to know they made an offer, or, you know, to help if we need it, and that way if we have to go talk to them.
Yeah.
We know they've already offered.
They offered, they talked to the DNR for assistance. You know, there's a lot that may be done by the USDOT, the PHMSA, the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration. So they regulate the pipeline themselves, so a lot of the regulations about the operations come out of them. So that's about all that I have at the moment. Like I said, as soon as we get any word about the results, I'll let you know about that and post that.
So our next meeting is February 18th, if they have to have that in by the 17th.
Well, and actually, our meeting in February is gonna be moved to the 25th because we have a primary election on the 18th.
When we do have a primary?
We do the state superintendent of schools and Jefferson County Supervisors.
Okay. So the 25th, so by then, we definitely will, can you, or whoever contacts them, give them a little push that we want to be able to set something up with our constituents at our next meeting, announce when we can have another forum?
Yes, I did talk to them about that today.
I think we also need to follow up on the things that Mr. Tooten brought up, that are due us, the fingerprints and the things that they promised us, that
Right.
we should follow up on that.
Yeah, we asked those questions today, so as soon as they have them, you know, I'm sure they'll let us know. I mean, they know we're pushing for it.
As long as we give them a little push, I think.
Well, we did today, we were asking all those questions. So, you know, we'll continue to push on them for that. I think it's important that we get it done as soon as possible.
And you said you were going to be putting together something as well?
Oh, I have a lot of recommendations. I mean, as far as detection. Yeah, earlier detection is the key. I mean,
Yeah.
mechanical devices fail all the time. How long does it take to find the problem is my issue. And I've been saying that in a public meeting. I suggested that in front of everyone, and I talked about it for at least a half hour today at the site. And I encourage you all to go visit the site and have those same discussions.
Yeah, and we would love to see what your suggestions are too. I mean, that helps a lot, and, you know, why,
My suggestion is, why can't they detect a leak within hours of the leak? And
Yeah.
I'm tasking them to find a way to do that. And that will be my recommendation for the work plan. Encourage you guys to do your own. I mean, I just went and looked at it and saw something that I recognized that didn't look proper. And, you know, how you can have a valve underground and not have some way of detecting this leaking, I don't understand that, so.
yeah, I don't either. It
That's
makes no sense.
my concern, and there's multiple concerns amongst all the people in the town and bring them up and
I can
try to
relate to that.
try to get somebody to do something about it.
So we did ask all those questions today, and we did talk quite a bit about that, and, you know, hopefully they will take that under advisement.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Has anybody ever asked why they didn't do anything for 50 years? To check it or anything? It doesn't sound like they checked these
Yeah, it's
flanges.
not on their routine, it's not on a checking schedule, right? So the
50
flanges are
years.
bolted together, yeah, and they.
Yeah,
But they got
didn't-
gaskets.
they
They
didn't-
said the gaskets.
Yeah.
Well,
The
the
gasket failed.
My gaskets don't last 50 years.
Yeah.
The gaskets are not, we learned that they're not the, like, rubber gaskets that you have, they're actually wires.
Okay, the
That-
inner ring
We
is,
asked them,
is in fact the gasket, is that what you learned?
we learned that the gasket is not like a rubber gasket like in a
No,
car. It's
no,
like a-
no, they on their report said that they had failed to install the inner
We
ring.
did ask that
When
today.
they buried it, is that identical to the gasket?
Yeah, that was
So those are
unclear.
interchangeable
That was-
terms?
That was unclear.
That was
I
unclear.
asked
We
for,
did
I
ask that
asked for
question.
a blueprint of what this junction is supposed to look like.
Right, we asked that,
So I-
Did you?
I-
Excellent.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you, that's all.
yeah, cause we asked,
I
we
mean, I
told
can
them that it
assume I
was.
can hear all these things, but until I can see it on a print of what this is, we're just throwing terms around. I don't know until I can see it.
But we mentioned to them about the report, and he didn't seem to know the person we talked to, so that might need to be discussed with somebody else at Enbridge, but the person who was there didn't seem to.
And those two Enbridge guys, were they local guys or are they from Canada?
You know, the one guy is local, the
one
bigger
guy's
fella is local, like a district manager?
Yeah, he's district manager, like out of Janesville.
The bigger guy was like a district manager, and the other fella was like their communications district for the area. No, I think they're local area or whatever.
I think I
I
have.
don't tend to believe anyone anymore.
Well, I mean, we talked about that
And it
today.
has to be, everything has to be questioned,
I brought that up.
because it comes back to the board for you guys sticking up for us.
Yeah, I brought that up today. I go, you know, there's a lot of
The
lot of
other
theories
one,
and things out there. I go, what
the
was-
other one is from, it says Duluth,
Minnesota.
the one who did the presentation, who's sitting by the projector. So he's from Duluth, the other one is, local. So we did ask all these questions.
And of course, both the DNR reps were there, and they're
They were
local.
there.
I mean, they're our region or whatever they call it.
Yeah, they're the project managers, so, you know, they're managing the project, so they were, Daryl, the engineer, I don't know if he's an engineer, but the consultant was there. And, I asked them a lot of questions, and what they would be doing with their work plan, and what they're seeing right now, what, how deep those temporary wells are, where the wells are screened, permanent ones there, to get an idea of how deep they go, you know, what their work plan would look like, so we were asking them all those questions. Yes, sir.
I was at that meeting when Enbridge was here. I was just curious, from the time that leak started to the time of discovery, what was the length of time?
Yeah.
We asked.
We asked that question, they can't give us an answer exactly, or, you know, and here's how they explained it. Because this certain line that comes through varies in flow volume throughout the batches that they run through it. So they aren't able to provide, at least at this time, an exact map of how much flow each day goes through, because it changes for every batch that they run. So the way I explained it is, like, this week it's this batch, and next week is a different volume, a different consistency of the oil. It's a different grade of oil for a different company, and then there's another batch that comes through. So it's not like it's just one constant ingredient, right? So Shell has their batch, Mobil has their batch, you know, that's kind of how we explained it.
Right.
So, and each batch has a different flow volume and different pressures associated with it. So,
Cause he said 350 foot-pounds, what he said.
Yes.
That was the main pressure.
Cause I asked that question, so they can't get closer on how long this thing was leaking, and they really can't.
Was it a dribble or was it a?
No, it's more like so when a gasket leaks, it's like, your valve on your faucet starts to leak.
Just like a
It's
small
that.
drop at a time.
Right, it's not like, like 1970 where you had a geyser,
Right.
so it's not like that.
350 foot-pounds is a lot of pressure.
Yeah, so,
And it depends what lines they're using, like line 6 is different than the other lines there. It can vary from day to day. Going in might be only like 40 PSI, and then it goes through,
So-
and it goes up to over 300.
that question will come up, right, every time, it's like, but if they can't tell you, then my solution is, well, early detection, right?
Yeah,
So if you put a well next to the valve, or the flange that's underground that you can't see, then as soon as the readings come from that well, within the next day or two, you're gonna know that there's a leak there.
Right.
And that's what I'm pushing for, right?
But is this facility, you can't be very simple, it's gotta be kinda complex. How many flanges do you have in that property?
Well, these flanges are underground, the old ones are, the new ones are above ground. So, obviously, you know there's a problem right away when there's above ground. But the ones that are underground are the ones that we're talking about.
Right, so that, we could see what the flanges look like, because some of them were above ground, outside, some are in the facility itself.
They have pictures of the ones
Jimmy.
underground that they excavated.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And they're the
Yeah.
same as what's outside, so you could see that. So, so that's what they're saying, it's just like, because the oil might vary slightly, it's all crude oil, but there's like different formulas based on what people want, and then the pressure changes, that it's hard to determine exactly how long this was going for.
Jimmy, you said it was it's a batch system, so it's transferred by batch?
Well, that's how they explain it, that's how
So
it
it's
comes down the
not a-
pipeline from Superior.
So there'd be like beginning and.
I guess, I mean, I'm not quite sure how that works,
Because
but.
it wouldn't be constantly under pressure.
No,
It's
no, it's
always
constantly
under
under pressure, it's the recipe of the oil
Mhm.
comes through the pipeline as ordered. So
Correct.
Shell has their recipe, Mobil has their recipe, and depending on the recipe can determine how much flow goes through with the pressure, which could then determine how much it leaks per batch, right? So it's
Yeah,
not
okay.
like, it's an easy thing to figure out from what I
And the
understand.
pressure may change too, based on their needs, so they can back off on the pressure if
Right,
they
that too.
don't need as much quantity at the end of the line.
Right.
But when they do a batch, it's like one batch goes, it's turbulent flow, so that once one batch goes, they don't push it through and clear the line and start again, they just push one after the other, and that turbulent flow keeps it separated,
Well,
and it
maybe,
slows.
yeah.
And there's 4 different valve systems in this, 4 different pipelines there, so sometimes that one's not even running. Sometimes it's just running slowly, and the other, 1 through 3, or there's only 2 running at a time, but maybe
Yeah.
1 or 3 is running, not 4. So
Yeah,
there-
so.
there's no
They may need
science.
They may need to be able to establish some kind of critical control points too in the process they don't have right now. But that'll be interesting, thank you.
Well, the hard part of this is there's no regulations on anywhere, on making them do any more. So my recommendation of putting a well next to the flange is something they're gonna have to do because I'm asking them to. There's
Yeah.
no one can make them do it, so that's the problem.
Right.
Just a couple of things. One, I want to, even though it may have been a slow leak, you have, as a board, the largest pipeline leak in the history of the state of Wisconsin. That's what this is. And it is 58 times greater than the Fort Atkinson leak. And I looked at the numbers, they spent $2.5 million so far on that one. They have budgeted $1.1 million on this one to cover everything. I know exactly what Jimmy means about the helplessness of not really having requirements that you can tell are hard, but you can require them to tell the truth. And you can check everything they tell you, and make sure that they are in fact credible when they speak to you.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there are things that I've asked for to the DNR, including the landfill tickets, that you can use to determine if the things they've told you so far are true.
Landfill tickets?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll be happy to
No,
talk to
how
you
much
about.
Phil went to the landfill.
Yeah, well, no,
Yeah,
it's,
different.
they've got their numbers in their report, it's like 28, or 2,800 and some odd tons. And in that tonnage, they have told you they have recovered 60% of 70,000 gallons. Well, a gallon of crude is gonna weigh about 8 pounds per gallon, and you'd have to know the exact product. You know, is Alberta crude and whatnot, but within a range, if you will, then you can compute how much oil was in that spoilage, according to them. Then you can go to the statute, which only allows a landfill, a specialized one, to accept petroleum contaminated spoils that have a concentration of 2,000 milligrams per kilogram. And if you assume the statute's not been violated, you can see if they're telling the truth.
Well, there would be manifests from the landfill down in Illinois, they went down to Illinois.
They went to Watertown.
I thought they went to,
No, he said they went over by Watertown.
It's right in the report, it's in Watertown.
Yeah,
oh, I thought they went to.
Yeah, over by
I thought
Milwaukee.
they
Yeah.
did something.
So all I'm saying is, I appreciate it's a hard thing, but press them for the things they promised and ask them for things that you know they have, that they're easy to get. I agree that, you know, it's complicated and, you know, there's gonna be a lot of experts on their side that are gonna be able to make it sound very complicated. Even when the DNR talks, he makes it sound complicated.
how many, why do you think they have so many people up
What?
here?
But that wire that was supposed to be in that flange that they didn't put there, it's put there to prevent leaks. It says without that, you don't have a seal. And for 50 years, it didn't have a seal and they kept it underground. Now, is there any reason at all to believe it wasn't leaking? And if that is the gasket, you know, they're saying the gasket degraded over a period of time, a metal wire that wasn't there degraded. I think there are some questions about what they have told you. And I realize I'm not an expert, but gosh, a diagram showing what the inner ring is, what the flange, are these two separate leaks that were going on in the same area? One beginning when they buried the pipe because they didn't put the ring in, the inner ring in, and a second one because a gasket degraded? Is that what they're telling you? Because one of them probably started when they put it in, the other one, whenever my head gasket goes and starts leaking on the floors, when I have noticed that that's gone, you're not gonna know. But I don't think they've made any effort to describe it to you. And so that's my 2 cents worth. We need to have the ability to at least check what they tell you.
Well, we'll keep on asking these questions, we'll keep on, you know, saying we want things, we'll keep on. If they don't give us, we will.
Can I ask one more question that I don't know the answer to? They have represented that only 0.1 barrel of product has reached the groundwater. Have you seen anything that supports that? It's in the report, it's in the press, it's in the, what's the Cambridge News Now equivalent called, that just came out a few days ago. It's a front page story about how this leak magnificently hasn't reached groundwater.
Yeah.
0.1 barrel, that's 4.2 gallons. I mean, I have not seen any support for that.
Well,
It's magic groundwater if that's the case. It's
well,
not moving.
they are getting those groundwater samples,
Next couple days,
In the
right?
next
They're gonna
couple
have those
days.
results back in a couple days,
So-
so we'll have more.
we'll have more.
And that gets posted
especially-
on the DNR website, so there's not, I
I
mean,
know,
Yeah.
and I don't,
We
I look
can't
forward
say
with
how
interest.
much is-
And the creek is gonna be monitored too.
Yeah.
Yes, the creek will continue to be monitored.
Well,
So we'll keep you posted on it, but we don't know that answer. We're gonna have to see. We'll know more, with the water samples on the perimeter, if it's migrating at all, or if it's, staying in that center
Yeah.
area. But they will have to do more. They definitely will. They'll have to be doing some type of remediation to remove the rest of the oil that remains.
Yeah, your question about how long it's been leaking.
We don't know that.
50 years or not, I have no idea.
We have no-
But what they are determining is how much oil is in the area, and that they're figuring out. Now,
Right,
they have a third-party consultant that does the work,
yes.
so it's not Enbridge, although they hire the consultant, we all know that, but I mean, so that guy was there, and he was explaining to us how they determine what's in the ground at the site, so they can determine how much is there. So, if it had been leaking a long time, it's been a minor leak, because they can determine how much is there. It hasn't left their site yet. Now, when we get the other results back this week, if the outer wells show detection, then obviously, it's pushed out
spreading.
further, but we just don't know
We don't
until
know.
we get those readings back.
But once,
Well,
If
and it's
those-
not gonna go anywhere right now. I mean, and they.
Well, the way they explained it,
Below 0 temperatures.
it's like,
Oil
here's
is
how
not
they
gonna
explained
move.
it, right, winter, low water levels now, but here's how they explained it, there's a puddle of water, and the deepest puddle of water, you take a cup out, and all the other flows into it, right? So if you remove water from a puddle in the deepest section, the outer limits come in. So what they explained it was, they dug, 60% of this residue and got it out of sight. The plume that's there starts to retract, in that void. So that's what these outer wells will determine, is if that essentially has happened versus spreading further out. And that's the crucial, the crucial information that we need to find out this week is, has it spread out or has it retracted into this area?
and as once the leak was repaired, you no longer having that pressure with the oil leaking, and not only leaking, but it getting pushed out.
Right.
From the pressure. Now it's just kind of sitting
It
there.
pressurized the ground is what you're saying when the leak was open.
Well, the pressure from the oil too, going through the pipe.
Yeah.
So there's always pressure in soil, so, hopefully, once it was repaired, you're no longer having the spreading of the oil either. So hopefully that in itself has caused it to just stay where it is, and with the frozen ground, a lot of that is immobile at this time.
The report said they observed the rate of release prior to repair. Did anybody tell you what that rate was that they observed leaking out of that pipe before they repaired it?
I don't think
Well, all they've explained was it's a slow dripping leak, that's all they've ever
But
said.
if they measured it, shouldn't they tell you?
Did they what?
Yeah, if they measured it as.
Oh, no, I haven't heard.
They pulled the dirt away, and the report says they observed the rate of release prior to repair.
We don't know.
What was it?
that's something they would have to
Yes.
report
Yes,
for
it's in
to
the
the
papers.
EPA,
It's in the
yeah.
report they filed with the Department of Transportation. I'm just saying, I have a lot of doubt and question. I think,
Yeah, well, we are asking those questions, and we will
and-
continue until we get the answers.
and it won't help us being helpless. you know?
No, but we'll continue.
Well, at some point, if just asking the questions isn't getting us the results,
Well,
I
then-
think then we need to make a formal request on record from an attorney who, is an environmental attorney.
Well, let me just, because I'm an attorney, this is just a caution. As soon as the board retains an attorney, they're gonna stop talking.
Oh, yeah, we won't get another bit of information.
And they're gonna communicate only through council. Right now, I'm very pleased that you were able to get representatives of the company here. Now, the trouble with asking people questions, you know, at a meeting like this is, we don't have any information to use to formulate the questions. We're getting some information a little bit here, and particularly if you informally gather the data, or the landfill tickets, you know, we'll have more information the next time. And when we can ask questions of these people and you're recording the answers, it's, in my opinion, and only my opinion, people could differ, but
No, it makes sense.
if you retain counsel before that next meeting, I don't think they're gonna be talking to you again.
No.
If, you know, and the DNR can certainly interact with them, but the DNR is doing none of their own tests, they're relying upon only the information from the company, and both of them are giving the exact same information to the press, and it's a magnificent job they've done for having the worst pipeline spill in Wisconsin history, and it looks like it's nothing happening here. Let's move on.
That's interesting.
To get a copy of that.
Jimmy, you guys, if you receive any emails from them with the reports that you're hoping to get?
Well, those reports are not gonna come to us personally,
No, they don't come to us.
and I don't communicate with with anyone email wise, so.
Okay.
In that form, so,
Okay,
No,
there's
they will be on the.
none of that. That's gonna be posted on the DNR website as soon as it comes out.
all right, thank you.
That doesn't come to me
Yeah.
personally, or my emails,
don't-
or Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jimmy doesn't typically, you don't ever talk to the DNR, just today because of being out there. So, but yeah, I will, you know, once that comes in, we'll probably we might get I might get an email saying it's available, but I may not, you know, I might get a report from them saying it's updated, but we won't get anything. There is the website, the BRTS, on the web, the Birds on the Web, so that is on our,
I don't
website.
understand why you wouldn't get updated, it's us here. It affects all of
Yeah.
us, and so why would the DNR
Well,
not?
they would probably send something that says, they would say if there was detection
Yeah, so
or
it goes
not.
directly to the DNR, cause that's what the requirement,
That's right.
federal agency of
yeah.
oil, blah, blah, blah. So it goes to the DNR first, the DNR puts it on their website, we'll be informed that that's happened, and then we can put it on our website, the Lake District can put it on our website, and then we can disperse it from there.
Right.
But there's no, Jimmy doesn't get an email from Enbridge, I mean, it doesn't work that way.
No, we don't get that from Enbridge. We would get information, I would get information from the DNR, and maybe Leanna from the Lake District would get information from the DNR, and we'll push for another meeting with them, but we don't have another meeting set up, you know, once.
Another document asking for was their environmental insurance. That was requested originally by Anita Martin of Jefferson County. And I did call the county and they can't find where Enbridge produced those documents to Jefferson County on her request as a result of the Fort leak. I think an extra effort should be made because without proof of insurance, if something comes down the road later,
Yeah.
no one is even gonna know how to contact the carrier because they won't know who they are unless you have those papers here.
I heard something, there's some other insurance thing now that you mentioned that.
Well,
that
there's a trust
Came,
too.
okay, that might, and you
I don't know
probably,
much about that either.
okay, I think it's the trust.
Trust.
All right, did you requested the landfill tickets already?
Through the DNR, I talked to,
Okay, well, that's all right, if you requested them, then
yeah,
there's no need to duplicate it.
he seemed to think they could get them in a couple of days.
Okay,
Well, why don't you just send that off to us when you get.
I don't think he's gonna give them to me, I asked him to give them to you.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, well, we'll look for that, thank you.
all right.
We'll
Or
let
put them on his,
Who, what,
you can put that on his website.
who was someone from the DNR?
Isaac.
Oh, Isaac
Ross. Isaac
Okay.
Ross.
All right, I will,
Yeah.
if we don't.
And he, you know, and similarly, the insurance records, if the DNR has those, put them on the site.
Yeah, we definitely should have those on our files,
Yeah.
we should.
Well, they might put those, the manifest from the landfill on their website as well, so
Yeah.
we'll keep looking for those.
Yeah.
We'll update you on
No, I
that.
hasn't asked for anything to be sent to me, I
Oh,
just
okay.
want to know.
Okay, I
All right, thank
wasn't
you.
sure if you did like an open record request or something.
Well, I did, but it was,
All right.
misinformed, so I went through.
Well,
All
we'll
right.
keep you posted. I think we've gone over most of it today, and just for time, we'll have another meeting. We'll keep everyone posted, like I said, and on the website too. So we'll just move on for now, and thank you for your comments. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
we're all working in the same
Yeah,
direction.
we're all working together.
We're all trying to find out what happened.
So recognition of Jerry Hofferman, on his retirement. So, there's a resolution for him, he was unable to be here today, so I'll just read this. Whereas Jerry Hofferman, Town of Oakland Police Chief, has retired after 3 years of outstanding and meritorious service to the, what's this typo? To us, as the police chief of the Town of Oakland, Jefferson County, Wisconsin, and whereas throughout his many years of service, Jerry has served the people of this township with fairness and dedication. Therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the Board of Supervisors, do hereby extend to Jerry Hofferman our sincere and grateful appreciation for his dedicated service to the Town of Oakland, Jefferson County, Wisconsin. Our congratulations and our best wishes for continued success, happiness, and good health in the years to come. And adopted at the Town of Oakland, this 21st day of January 2025 by the Town of Oakland Board of Supervisors. Yay, Jerry. And I must say that, Jerry was, very fair to us when he got his position as, the undersheriff at the county. He did stay here for quite a few months afterwards to help us with this transition. So we are very grateful for him for doing that. Yes.
We're missed, we'll be well missed.
Yes. Okay, so we'll move on then to approval of disbursements.
I'll make a motion to approve disbursements starting with check 918 through and including check 1014 in the aggregate amount of $3,956,862.70.
That includes settlement checks.
Includes settlement checks.
Settlement checks for, property taxes for the school district, Jefferson County, Lake District.
Always what happens in January.
Yes,
Yep.
it does.
I'll second.
Okay. Comments?
Okay.
All in favor of the